Today, we're going to test pieces of medieval armor. We're even in a totally contextualized environment here. Our test dummy today is going to be the fully equipped knight.
Hey, what's up, man? All good? My life insurance is up to date?
Everything's fine. In today's video, we chose some objects. It's just a joke. We won't test them on him. But he has some really cool pieces of armor for us to test.
We have some pieces here that were discarded during manufacturing because of some small flaw or another, but for testing they're excellent, okay? First, you can see that we have the helmet, the shell. So we took a shell that didn't pass the quality test because it ended up in the wrong shape at the time. But that's not a problem because its texture will be identical to the one that was approved. Here we also have the glove. In this case, it doesn't have the fingers, right? Because we made some mistake here during manufacturing, but its quality is still the same.
Check this one out. This one was approved, and it's actually still used nowadays in battles and everything. And it's really interesting because it's actually thick and rigid. If you get hit here, it will protect you quite easily, even your fingers. It also has great protection for the fingers, and unlike what it seems, it's not that uncomfortable actually. You still have good mobility here to handle the sword and everything else.
We also have the foot.
Yeah, this is the kit. Shin guard and foot. Soccer players, this offers more protection, right? With this on, you won't get taken out by a slide tackle. The shin guard goes here, and the foot part goes here, look. And he's practically wearing all the pieces of the armor. You've got the shoulder pieces, right?
Uh-huh. The shoulder pad, the elbow, the bracelet.
Then there's the chest plate, which is down here, right? The thigh, the knee. Look how the leg is completely protected. The knee connects to the thigh, which links to the shin guard, and there's a small piece for the foot here. And even so, it looks very robotic, but you actually have pretty good mobility.
It has good movement, it does, right? Jumping jacks here, right?
Anyway, guys, we also set aside some weapons, and now we're going to start the test to see if this armor really holds up. The selection of weapons we're going to test on the armor will be these here. We have the medieval flail, this crazy baseball bat, a sledgehammer, this apocalyptic weapon, which I don't think will do much, an axe that's a bit sturdier, a medieval sword, and a bardiche, which is kind of like a medieval axe as well, used back in the day. And we're going to start testing things from the feet and work our way up to the helmet. We've already set up both the shin guard and the foot protection on this stump here, and we're going to start the tests with this. Moment of truth. Let's see if this will hold up. Whoa! Look, do you think the little toe would still be intact? It's more brutal. The guy went in with a slide tackle right on the shin. Let's see what happened. Whoa! Wow, there were even sparks. It left a mark on the shin and on the foot too. Look, I think we'd still have all our body parts intact up to this point, huh?
Bang!
Bang! Bang! It's even taking the shape of the stump. The metal isn't denting, but it's opening up a bit. I'll hit the foot again. Watch. I wasn't satisfied with my last strike. It's holding up. Which one do you want?
The big axe will smash it, man. Oh my God. Watch your shin.
Ouch! Wow, I really felt that one.
That one would have hurt.
Look at this one. Check it out. The little toe is done for here. At the very least, a bruise on the 5th metatarsal. That's it. Now this one, look. This one's bad. What's the name of this bone again?
I have no idea. Shin. I only know it as shin.
Your little shin bone here is done for, especially since on our shin we don't have much muscle protection, right? So, look, things went bad for the guy here. Now let's move on to medieval weapons. And these are the things that these armors would really have to withstand. First we have the sword, on the shin. Okay? 2, 3, go. Let's see if it holds up on the foot. Ouch, lost the foot. It's getting tough for our soldier here, huh? Now I want to see the so-called bardiche, the big axe, right? Put simply, it's basically an axe prototype. 2, 3, and... Whoa! Wow.
That's exactly what the bardiche is for, man. It's for hitting someone in armor.
The beginning of our armor here, they got pretty damaged. We managed to dent them quite a bit.
And it's worth remembering that underneath the armor there's always padding. It helps absorb the impact. The blow hits the armor, spreads out, and the padding cushions it so the bone doesn't break.
Our shins and feet would be sore, but they wouldn't be broken. Now let's move up the body a bit. It's time for us to test the hands. Little flails. Done. Wow, man, I have to say you're holding up pretty well. Wow, now I hit it dead on. It made some marks up here, right on the metal, but it held up even better than the shin guard part.
Usually the foot is thinner than the upper parts. The helmet is the widest part and the foot is thinner because the helmet is the place where you'll take the most hits. In a fight, people are going to focus on your head, right? It's rare for someone to aim at your foot in the middle of a battle.
In fact, the whole armor weighs about 35 kilos, so you need to choose some parts to be more resistant and others to be more fragile. Exactly, so you can have mobility, so you can move, get around, fight and all that, because if it was too heavy, you wouldn't even be able to handle the weight. In half an hour, you'd already be extremely tired. Kratos' big axe now, huh? Once again, it just dented. For sure it would have hurt, but your hand would still be intact and you could keep dueling. Now we're really gonna have the knight versus the armor. Let's see. This time, the sword hit the side. It made a big dent here, but you can see how the metal is technically thick and tough. Man, it stops anything. I want to see if it can stop the bardiche now.
Did you like the bardiche?
I liked it, man. I like that bardiche. No, one more. One more. Yeah, man, when it comes to the bardiche, forget it. And this time I think it would have transferred the blow to my hand and definitely would have hurt a lot because look at the state it's in. We flattened it. And to finish off the hand, the big sledgehammer. I'm not even using any force, just its own weight. Poor fingers here, right? They turned into ground meat. Really, our sledgehammer is very brutal and just crushed the hand. Now it's time for us to test the coolest thing, which is going to be the helmet. Here it is then. This is the toughest part of the armor. And it's the part you really have to be most careful with, right? Because it's going to protect your head. That's it. Let's start with the flail. Look at its spikes here. 2, 3, and... Look, I hit right on the front part here. This part must have gotten a little dented. The cool thing about this front part here is that it has these little holes so you can see, but even so, it's still very strong. If anything, it's probably an even stiffer, thicker metal than this one here. Yeah, that's right. I think that's probably because of the holes, right? Since it has the holes, it makes the metal a bit weaker, so it needs to be a little thicker to protect the front of your face, right? Look, even though the flail hits hard, it didn't do anything to the helmet, so we're gonna have to step things up a bit. It's time for Kratos to take action. I'm going to hit this part here so we can test the visor first. Then we'll give it a good whack on top. 2, 3, and... Man, this thing holds up well. It's really strong, like it's a very thick metal. This is really rigid. Now let's see how it does on his head for real. You can see that it got dented, huh? What the heck? The helmet is a bit bigger, right? It's not exactly the size of the head, especially since there's a little cushion inside. So that dent wouldn't have even reached halfway through the cushion. In other words, you'd be protected from Kratos. Look, the knight got angry there. He came with his sword. Wow, the visor held up.
It didn't even break at the hinge, the weakest point, right?
Let's try hitting it on the side here. Look, let's do a second one.
Guys, check this out. We managed to make a pretty good cut here. Yeah, the helmet broke. It kind of tore a piece off. I think that with the rest of the weapons we have, we'll be able to destroy this because its structure got shaken up with all these hits. Look who's here, the so-called bardiche. I want to focus on the same spot where we landed the other hits. That's exactly so we can try to split the helmet in half. Nice! I'll even give it one more hit. Since we made a little dent here now, it's easier for the blows not to slip off. This thing here is really tough. It's much tougher than the sword. We've already managed to deform this part a lot. Look, it's done for already. It might not have hurt the user that much yet, but of course the blow was really strong. The guy would have felt it. But I think this is it. Look, it's time for the sledgehammer. Now nothing will be left. It's now or never. Oh. Oh! The visor's gone. Wow, and the helmet too, huh?
He's on his last legs.
That guy would have already felt it.
Oh.
To finish it, go. I don't know if there was any welding here. I believe there probably was. Yeah, I think this was a weld exactly. That's why it was the weakest part there. And it made a tear in the middle of the helmet. With the hits, it started to put pressure on this part. It made it open up. And this right here, look, was once a helmet. Conclusion. Medieval armor resisted most weapons of the time, like swords and some others, though not as much against the bardiche. However, it couldn't withstand the force of a sledgehammer. But tell me something. That other helmet we showed at the beginning of the video, is it stronger than this one too?
It might be a little stronger because it was finished, right?
But it seems like its metal is a little bit more rigid and a bit thicker too.
Yeah, but if you kept hitting the tree trunk with several blows and still smashed it with the sledgehammer, it definitely wouldn't hold up either.
Raul has a bunch of medieval weapons, so I think it would be an interesting video for us to test them. If you guys want it, leave a lot of comments and likes here, and we'll come back. By the way, he also has a channel that covers a lot of things related to medieval culture. It's really cool. I'll also leave the link here in the description. Go check out his channel. Spadacast. It's here in the description. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching the video. We're in this together and see you in the next video. Thanks, Raul. We're together. Take care. See you next time. Bye.